I'm gonna explain how I made my little keypad for my Arduino. This is the PCB board. We'll look at the actual board and the code in just a sec. It basically takes your ground there, connects a resistor between those two, just a basic resistor there, and then your data line there, which runs there. Then you have your buttons. Note, they're all the buttons are on the same data line. So you have buttons there and resistors there, everywhere. Now these resistors all vary in resistance. So when I push, say, this button, it gives a specific reading back to my Arduino, and the Arduino's code assigns it this value to the number 3. So every button gets a certain assigned number in your code. You have to actually test it with a serial write and read, and then just your 5-volt power line there. Okay, let's look at the board itself. So this is what the keypad looks like. It's currently plugged into my Arduino, which I just plugged into my PC. There's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, star, 0, hash. The default code is 1, 2, 3, 4, like I said. Both lights are on. If you want to change it, go to hash, to 5 star, gets changed. Doesn't work, but one is changed. There. Wait for 3 seconds, blinks, times out, so then I can enter it again. Wrong code, gives me an error. So let's look at the code for this then. So here's the code for my keypad. It's still a little dirty, still needs cleaning up, but it does the job for now. So I have my button old, just a confirmation, my code, input string that gets assigned to later, start time to calculate if the user is currently inputting or not. After 3 seconds it has to stop, digit old, and typing. It also works along with start time. So let's look at the main loop. It assigns button to 0 if your keypad in pin 14 analog read is larger than 0, then button equals -1 and typing equals 1. If button equals -1, start time equals millis. Num is millis minus your start time, so that's how long it's been running. If it's larger than 3 seconds and typing is 1, then it sets typing to 0, start time to 0, and simply tells you that, shows the user that he has timed out, and then sets input to null again. So if start time does not equal 0, that means he has pushed a button. Then it assigns this method to this int number. So let's look at get null. It does an analog read of pin 14 of your keypad, and your digit is automatically assigned to -3. That means no input. So after it has assigned assigned button, it tests if button between those and those values, then it assigns it to 1. Does that for these values the same, blah blah blah, until you get your 0, star and hash. So if it does not find one of those, it returns -3. This is just to make sure that you didn't push the button twice or isn't returning the value more than once. If digit is not equals dig, which is basically digit old, it returns digit. Otherwise it returns -3, which is no input. Back to the void. So up here, where will we? Yeah. Okay, guess get num. If it is not, number is not -3. In other words, when it does return a specified value. Like I said, it's still a bit dirty, that doesn't need to be there. So it assigns input to number, or number to input actually. Just confirmation from your LEDs that it has been, input has been received, and a small delay. Then if input length is larger than 6, that means your 4-digit code and a -1 or -2, it goes into this. Sets typing to 0, so it went time out again. If input equals code plus -1, so note input is a string and code is a string as well, so using the plus means concatenate, not plus -1. So instead of it going 1 2 3 minus 1 1 2 3 4 minus 1, it goes 1 2 3 4 and then adds -1 to the string. So it doesn't end up 1 2 3 3, it ends up 1 2 3 4 minus 1. It sets the 2 lights to show that that it was accepted, the key was accepted, pauses for 2 seconds, puts them off, puts input to 0 to null again, and then these 2 typings shouldn't be there. Else, if the input equals code -2, that's slash, you can change the code. So valid equals 0. I'll explain that now. It shows that you're busy editing the code, delays just for a second. Now, while valid does not equals 1, so as long as it's 0, or anything except 1 actually, it stays in this while loop. Now int num1 gets get num2. So get num2 is basically the same as get num1, it just has returns actually it just runs this loop until you get a valid number. That's all difference. So it assigns that does that for all of the numbers, and number 5 has to be -1. If -1, here it tests every one of them for -2. If it is -2, it cancels the input completely. Num5 has to be -1. If it's not -1, it gets cancelled and you have to redo the whole thing. Here it simply plus assigns the numbers to the code and sets your new code until num4. Turns off your light, sets valid to 1, so you can go out of the loop. That's for input code plus -2. If it's not one of these two, in other words, it's the wrong code, it does int I equals 0, 4, so basically for loop, does it 10 times, 11 times if you really want to. It basically blinks your green light on and off, and then goes out. That's for that's this one's else. So that's if num5 does not equals -1. Here simply set valid to 1 and then exit this loop. This is your else, so if it's neither, you originally enter your code and you press neither star nor hash, or your code is wrong, then it blinks 11 times again. It sets typing to 0 and your string to null again, just to ensure that just to ensure that the light doesn't blink and that you can enter a value again if you entered the wrong one originally. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like.